I wouldn't call myself a pinball fan. In fact, for the longest time, I hated pinball. This game, however, changed that. The game, oh, that's a pinball. I want to preface this video saying that only hardcore gamers will like this game. People who haven't played a lot of video games just won't understand it, and if you try to talk about it without understanding it, you'll end up on r/whoosh, my favorite subreddit. Now, with the warning out of the way, let's get on to the review. I'm Arrogate Dude Game Reviews, and this is this week's game review. First, let's talk about the story. The story is nothing short of sublime. I'd say it could even be the best story in video games to date. It's gritty, it's real, and it's unapologetic. This game will change how you think about pinball, video games, and life itself. Let's start with our main character, Brady. Brady is a sphere. This speaks to the player on a deep level because it shows his struggle with becoming a well-rounded person and his multitude of skills. I personally grew attached to Brady and almost ended up crying during the end game because of that. I didn't actually cry, of course, that would make me a girl. Now, the dream of our main character, Brady, is that he wants to have the highest pinball score in the universe. My personal game theory is that he had turned himself into a pinball just to achieve this. But you wouldn't have noticed that if you didn't analyze it enough. After countless days of training, he then sets off to the fabled pinball board and sets out on his journey to get the high score. Along the way, he makes friends, enemies, and relationships that will last forever and teach him lessons about his life. Now, I don't plan on going too in-depth because I want you to play this for yourself, but I just wanted to say that some reviewers think that the right and left bumper's actions are the most shocking, but in my opinion, I think that circular bumper number 3 Coon's arc was far more shocking, interesting, and realistic, and that's why he, in my opinion, is the second best character. And I think that this story is a really good commentary on the socioeconomic status of middle-class America and the communist revolution. But personally, I don't think many people would be able to pick that up because this is something that only real gamers will understand. And I just wanted to go ahead and put it out there, but I think the writer for this game, Preston, I believe his name was, excellent writing. I think it's really good, and I hope he gets a role in the next upcoming game by Preston Studios. Now, the graphics. See, this is obviously the most important part of a game, and to me, this game has the graphics. Now, I heard a rumor that the developers of this game had managed to use an unreleased copy of Unreal Engine 5. Take that how you will, but that's what I've heard. It would explain how this masterpiece came to look so flawlessly. There's also some clear inspirations for the art direction of this game. I've heard a lot of people, other reviewers, pointing out that there were certainly some cues taken from Boku no Autism Academia, which is my personal favorite Japanese animation. I'm excited for the next season. I've been taking some Japanese so that way I can watch it early. Konnichiwa. Desu Arrogate Dude. Just a little Japanese for you, but anyways, I think the Boku no Autism Academia inspiration and references are clever, and I think they add depth. However, another influence I don't see people mentioning is what is possibly the most obvious inspiration, and I don't know why other reviewers aren't talking about it. It does make me a little mad, but I just want to go ahead and put it out there. I've noticed some references and some cues to Swindle and Pinball in Space by Chandler from Super Duper. Now, like him or hate him, I know. Hello? Uh, sorry about that. My mic broke in the middle of the review. As I was saying, I think there's some clear inspiration from Swindle Pinball in Space by Chandler from Super Duper. Now, like him or hate him, I know he's been a controversial figure recently in the news and the internet, but he made another good pinball game, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that the developers of Oh That's a Pinball copied him, but I definitely say there's some inspiration because they're both a pinball board and they both have bumpers and music, so definitely some inspiration, which is totally fine. It's totally fine because inspiration is good. All in all, the graphics on this game are what graphics should be. Now, the gameplay is perfect. Words cannot do it justice. The only way you can understand this bliss is if you play it for yourself. My favorite part of the gameplay mechanics is how it rewards the players with skill. If you're good at video games, the game rewards you. I remember how right before this review, I had gotten my highest score yet, and it was thanks to practice and hard work. I am in fact so good at this game now that I can go leave the game open and make a sandwich while playing. Now, keep in mind, it takes time to get to my level. The game is hard. It is difficult. If you've been playing baby games like Call of Duty or Mario, then you might not be good enough for this game. I guess you could say it's kind of like the Dark Souls of pinball. It's got a good physics engine, and I think gameplay-wise, it's a solid 10, no, maybe even 11 out of 10, but I'm a fair reviewer. I look at the whole game, but I'll get to my final rating in just a second. The music is terrible. I personally think a far more appropriate soundtrack could have been made with the same budget. I suggest the developers fire the current composer and hire one who worked on a game with a much better soundtrack, like Persona 6, for example. I think their main theme particularly would have been very appropriate here. But I think now it's time to address the elephant in the room. It's time for the biggest problem I have with this game. The Physics Engine DLC. It's a sham. I paid for the season pass to get this DLC, and I almost sold the game because of how angry I was. The Physics Engine was only sold to make money. I think it's fun, incredibly impressive, and works great, but it is not worth the price they charged. This is a scam, and if I don't see the developers adding Geno for the next DLC, I will boycott. Overall, I love the game, and I think it should be the golden standard for all future games, no matter what the genre. I was tempted to give it a perfect 10 out of 10, but then I saw everyone else was, and I just didn't think it's fair for me to give it another score. I give this game 9.9 Brady Globes out of 10. Be sure to subscribe to see more Eric Dude reviews, and stay tuned for my Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 review next week. So, this is Eroge Dude, over and